Comex now has 28 paper claims for each physical ounce of registered silver. Wow, what could go wrong? Buy your gold and silver online from SD Bullion. New customers get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new. Thank you so much for watching my video. I do sincerely appreciate it. I want to talk about this article here, which mentions the extraordinary amount of paper claims that individuals or businesses think they have on a single ounce of silver. The ratio is 28 paper claims for each 1 ounce on the Comex. This is ridiculous. If we dive in, we can read here, coverage in registered silver is far worse than gold and has reached a new high for the move. There are now 28 paper ounces for each physical ounce of silver available for delivery at the Comex. This means if 3.5% of paper contracts stand for delivery, the Comex will not have enough silver to meet demand. That's it. 3.5% of these people who have these claims need to say, we want our silver, and they're not going to be able to provide enough silver. This is ridiculous. This should not be allowed. Obviously, this plays into manipulation, price suppression. I mean, we've known for a long time that the silver market is heavily manipulated. But look at this, 28 paper ounces for every ounce. You've got to be kidding me. I want to show you this website here, usdebtclock.org. And first, let's look at the U.S. national debt. It is now over $32 trillion. This is an obscene number, almost $100,000 of debt per citizen. Obviously, not all citizens are taxpayers. We've got dependents and things like that. And so if we look at the debt per taxpayer, we're at $250,000. Do you have $250,000 on hand ready to help pay your portion of the national debt? Not a lot of us have that kind of cash laying around that we're just willing to give to the government if they need it to pay off this debt. But the other thing I want to show you on this website here is the paper to silver ratio now. This is a number that we look at when we talk about price suppression of silver and manipulation. So it's currently sitting at 333.35 to 1. We can see it right here. And actually, if we look at the definition, paper to silver ratio, the number of paper silver ounces traded on the major world silver exchanges divided by the actual world production of silver in ounces. So let me break down what this means. This is the paper silver that we just talked about on the Comex, that's included, but also the LBMA, and I think there's a Shanghai exchange. So there's a number of exchanges where they trade this paper silver. It's people that think they have silver, but really they can't actually get it because there's too many paper contracts for every single ounce, right? Which we just talked about with the Comex. But this is all of them combined, and then it's divided by the world production of silver. So this is how many ounces of silver have been mined this year. So obviously there's a lot of silver sitting on these exchanges that was mined in previous years. So this ratio is not looking at all of that, not the surplus. We're looking at just what's been mined this year. But still, this just shows you how much manipulation is going on when it comes to silver. If it was traded 1-to-1, we could expect the price of silver to go up substantially. This chart here is showing the number of silver ounces which are available on the LBMA. This is their reserves. And if we look at 2023, we can see the level it's at here is much lower than it has been over the last 6+ years. However, there still are a good amount of reserves available, and they have been leveling off over the last few months. But I wanted to show you this as a baseline as we compare it to the Comex, which has a much different story. The Comex pretty much peaked for their number of registered stock of silver in ounces in 2021. They had a lot of silver available. It's not that surprising because during COVID, there was a lot of businesses which were shut down, which would normally be consuming these silver ounces, and they didn't need them because they simply weren't producing any products. We know a lot of silver goes out to industry, but either way, we've been seeing this number of ounces drastically decline. I mean, we're now at levels we haven't seen since 2016. So we know the available supply of silver on the Comex is dwindling at a rapid pace. We can see that here on this chart. And I want to talk about how much silver is actually manipulated as compared to gold. I want to give you another baseline there so you kind of know what the norm is, right? If we know what gold is doing, then we can compare silver to it and see which one is crazier. And I think you know where this is going. But right here, they talk about the number of paper contracts for every ounce of registered gold on the Comex, and that's currently sitting at 4.3. So not a lot. I mean, still, this is ridiculous. It should be 1-to-1 in my opinion. They should not be allowed to take out more contracts than the amount of ounces that are there. But, you know, this is trading. This is futures. This is a system that's been in place for a pretty long time, longer than I've been alive. So many people just know this as the norm. But if we compare gold to silver, we can see, again, 4.3 paper contracts and then 28 contracts for every ounce of silver. So that's the difference right there. Silver is obviously much more manipulated than gold. They're allowing many more contracts to be out there compared to every ounce of silver. Again, when we see a percentage this low, 3.5% of paper contracts need to stand for delivery for the Comex to literally run out of silver, it's a little scary. I mean, obviously, there is still silver available on the LBMA, and they do trade it back and forth from time to time, so it's not like the world would be completely out of silver, but it still would be unprecedented, and I don't think we've ever seen a ratio like this on the Comex before. At the end of this article, they bring up some really good points, and I want to read these to you. The first part here says, the banks restocked in May, but that momentum has already faded. The outflows of metal have resumed, bringing registered silver to new lows and depleting the overall gold supply. Whoever is draining the Comex is not trying to make a scene. They are slowly but surely scooping up physical metal without causing a scene or pushing up prices. As the drainage in supplies continues, the price will be forced to respond. Silver registered supplies are down over 80% in 3 years. At the current pace, all supplies will be exhausted by the end of the year or the beginning of next at the latest. And then the last part here, when the recession sets in, there could be a flight into safety with people naturally wanting physical. This will be like a game of musical chairs where there are 30 people per chair. It won't be pretty. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're trying to get physical silver, the Comex is not the place to go. There are so many contracts for every ounce. I didn't go over this whole article. There's a lot of information here. But I think the best thing to do is just to buy from an online bullion dealer or a local coin shop. That's what I do when I want to get more silver. And obviously, when it comes to paper silver, you're not going to be able to get any physical silver out of it. And at the end of the day, what you want to have is physical silver. You want to have something that you can hold in your hand, something that's real, something that's tangible, something with intrinsic value. You don't want just numbers on a computer screen that say you own silver, when in reality, you're never going to be able to get any silver out of it. So I hope this video was helpful to people out there who are maybe new to precious metals, or that just want to understand sort of the manipulation and everything that's going on behind the scenes. If you enjoyed it, feel free to smash that thumbs up and leave a comment with all of your thoughts. I want to say a massive thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Silver Dragons out.